The galaxy had long assumed Earth was inconsequential, a quiet planet of no strategic value and a primitive species barely capable of interstellar comprehension. Its civilization dismissed as harmless, its fleets negligible, and its scientists considered amusing curiosities at best. Galactic powers, spanning the dominant Confederation, the technocratic Xelari Consortium, and the militaristic Draven Hegemony, saw humanity as a minor nuisance, a species that could be manipulated, exploited, or ignored entirely without consequence, and so they approached their dealings with a mixture of condescension and impatience, sending envoys with veiled threats, imposing minor blockades on trade routes, and deploying observational fleets to monitor humanity's progress under the assumption that they were curiously slow learners of the galactic order. Yet beneath Earth's surface, both figuratively and literally, humanity had grown, quietly, steadily, with technologies that were deliberately obscured from alien sensors, alliances forged across secret networks of scientists, engineers, and military strategists, and a global cooperation that was imperfect but resilient, built on centuries of conflict, adaptation, and survival instinct honed against catastrophes far more relentless than any galactic threat. When the first Xelari reconnaissance vessel entered Earth's orbit, its sensors expected a planet of scattered, disorganized signals, electromagnetic emissions interpreted as primitive communication, and industrial output that barely registered on the galactic scale. Yet what the crew failed to notice was a planet-wide coordination of humanity's covert observational arrays, quantum-encoded communications bouncing undetected through shadow networks, and orbital defenses that were, in reality, far more sophisticated than the Xelari Council had ever permitted themselves to believe. Humanity watched silently, learning from every alien maneuver, recording every transmission, calculating every possible approach with a precision born of centuries of practice and anticipating threats far beyond their apparent means. And while humans outwardly appeared to continue their mundane routines, farming, urban development, resource management, the undercurrent of preparation was relentless, a calculated patience that drew on human psychology, history, and the unshakable resolve that had allowed them to survive pandemics, nuclear threats, and environmental collapses. Without alien intervention, building a silent arsenal of strategic capabilities that would remain hidden until the exact moment it was needed to shock the galaxy into recognition of their true power. Meanwhile, alien fleets underestimated human coordination, sending multiple delegations to negotiate and intimidate, all while internally debating whether Earth could simply be bypassed or contained with minimal engagement, not realizing that every diplomatic slight, every mockery, and every condescending gesture was being meticulously logged and analyzed by humans whose capacity for retaliation was both patient and terrifyingly inventive, drawing on principles of strategy, engineering, and human resilience that no alien species had truly understood. With military theorists noting that humans had an uncanny ability to combine disparate technologies into devastatingly effective solutions under pressure, and scientists demonstrating rapid adaptation of alien tech, integrating reverse engineering, and improving upon it in ways that created exponential advancement while remaining invisible until deployed. The tipping point came when the Draven Hegemony, frustrated by humanity's supposed inaction, decided to enforce compliance through a show of force, launching a reconnaissance strike on the edges of human-controlled orbit, expecting minimal resistance and eager to intimidate, only to discover the first wave of humanity's hidden defenses, a sophisticated lattice of kinetic projectors, electromagnetic disruptors, and rapid-response automated drones that neutralize the attack with precision, leaving alien commanders stunned at the seamless coordination and unexpected lethality of systems that they had assumed were centuries away from Earth's capacity, triggering panic across the Hegemony's fleets, cascading into confusion as they realized that human ships, seemingly few in number, were already adapting in real time to their tactics, predicting maneuvers, and countering attacks with an efficiency that blurred the line between technological superiority and instinctive brilliance, a hallmark of human strategy developed through millennia of survival against threats that required improvisation, resilience, and the willingness to take risks that no other species could comprehend. At the same time, Earth's political leaders convened in secure orbital councils, coordinating responses that balanced measured diplomacy with decisive military preparation. using humanity's unique ability to consider the ethical, the practical, and the long-term consequences simultaneously, ensuring that retaliation would not only protect humanity's sovereignty but also reshape the perception of humans across the galaxy, instilling a cautious respect among civilizations that had hitherto dismissed them, and laying the groundwork for a counteroffensive that was as psychologically shattering as it was physically devastating, leveraging humanity's deep understanding of alien psychology, communication networks, and technological patterns to orchestrate a campaign that no galactic power could have predicted, culminating in the first undeniable revelation of Earth's true capabilities, a species underestimated at every turn. Now poised to remind the galaxy why provocation of a quiet planet comes at a cost that no council, fleet, or empire is prepared to bear. The shockwaves of humanity's first decisive display rippled through galactic space faster than any communication array could relay, as entire fleets paused mid-operation, reassessing centuries of assumptions about Earth while commanders on every alien vessel struggled to reconcile their data with the unthinkable reality before them. And back on Earth, the human response was measured yet unyielding, their leaders balancing tactical aggression with strategic foresight, deploying Orbital fortifications that had been disguised as civilian satellites, activating long-prepared planetary defense grids that combined kinetic, electromagnetic, and gravitational modulation technologies in ways that turned entire battle strategies into relics of a less-informed era, while simultaneously coordinating global civilian communications to maintain calm and reinforce trust in humanity's leadership, demonstrating a unity and clarity of purpose that aliens could not fathom for every human. Action, from deploying orbital drones to redirecting energy flows, was executed with a precision born of centuries of trial, error, and adaptation to challenges far beyond those faced by most civilizations, and as the Draven Hegemony attempted to regroup, their fleets were met with unexpected countermeasures that neutralized command structures, disrupted communications, and targeted critical systems with a combination of ingenuity and ruthless efficiency that left alien pilots in disbelief. While on Earth, scientists monitored alien responses in real time, feeding tactical algorithms with continuously updated data, predicting not only the immediate reactions but the likely psychological responses of the alien crews, allowing humanity to exploit hesitation, fear, and confusion to its advantage without breaking a single ethical standard of engagement. And as the Xelari and Confederation delegations observed from the edges of the theater, their own calculations faltered, realizing that humans had integrated alien technology, human intuition, and centuries of planetary problem-solving into a single adaptive framework that allowed them to operate in ways that were simultaneously defensive, offensive, and strategically persuasive, creating a multi-layered approach to conflict that could counter numerical superiority, advanced weaponry, and interstellar coordination with a fluidity that no alien strategist had ever encountered. And as humanity began to extend its influence beyond its immediate system, deploying deep space observation nodes, automated mining and repair fleets, and long-range communication arrays capable of bypassing conventional interstellar jamming, the galaxy slowly began to understand the full scale of what had been underestimated, that humanity was not merely a primitive planet of survivalists and inventors, but a species capable of synthesizing knowledge, culture, and ingenuity into a form of coordinated power that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast even the most advanced adversaries. And within months, key systems previously dominated by alien powers began reporting anomalies, supply lines disrupted, fleets immobilized, and entire command structures reconsidering every engagement with humans, while Earth's leaders continued to project restraint outwardly, giving the impression of measured patience and calculated negotiation, all the while preparing for decisive interventions that would shock the galaxy, not through wanton destruction, but through demonstrations of superior logistics, tactical precision, and strategic empathy, showing allies and adversaries alike that humanity's greatest strength was not merely firepower, but the ability to anticipate, adapt, and act with a clarity and purpose that no external force had yet accounted for. And as the first full-scale confrontations began in the neutral sectors bordering human space, alien commanders found themselves constantly outpaced, outthought, and ultimately outclassed in ways that defied their understanding of warfare, diplomacy, and even probability. And as Earth's orbital fleets expanded their presence, using modular, adaptive ships capable of multiple simultaneous roles. Humanity's engineers quietly implemented energy harvesting systems that allowed self-repair and extended operations far beyond what aliens expected, while simultaneously leveraging predictive analytics to counter potential ambushes, false retreats, and coordinated strikes, turning every attempt to provoke or intimidate humans into an opportunity for tactical demonstration, psychological leverage, and the eventual orchestration of an interstellar campaign designed to teach the galaxy a lesson in humility, one that would be remembered as a moment a quiet planet, long dismissed, redefined the balance of power in the stars forever. As the first months of direct engagement unfolded, humanity's methods revealed a level of sophistication that stunned even the most experienced alien tacticians, with entire fleets rendered ineffective not by brute force, but through the integration of deceptive maneuvers, predictive algorithms, and adaptive countermeasures that allowed humans to control every battlefield in real time. And as news of these actions spread across the galaxy, whispers of disbelief and fear began circulating among the lesser powers, while the major factions, the Confederation, the Xelari Consortium, and the Draven Hegemony, struggled to maintain internal cohesion, their councils fracturing as commanders debated whether to retreat, negotiate, or double down on aggression. Yet every option was undermined by humanity's uncanny ability to anticipate reactions, turn alien assumptions against them, and strike precisely where vulnerabilities were greatest, using resources that seemed modest in scale but were magnified exponentially by human ingenuity, adaptability, and the careful orchestration of multi-tiered operations that combined orbital bombardments with infiltration drones, quantum-disguised reconnaissance probes, and diplomatic signals calibrated to sow confusion while preserving humanity's moral high ground, all of which created a psychological edge as much as a tactical one, forcing alien leaders to reconsider not only the effectiveness of their weapons but the reliability of their intelligence. For every attempt to conceal or mask human capabilities had been anticipated and neutralized with a combination of scientific brilliance and historical insight, revealing that humanity had studied not just alien technology but alien behavior, psychology, and decision-making patterns over decades, learning from past encounters, theoretical simulations, and practical experiments to construct an operational framework that allowed humans to exploit hesitation, fear, and overconfidence with near-perfect timing. And as the galaxy's fleets faltered under coordinated strikes, humanity began extending its influence beyond conflict zones, initiating rescue and support missions to nearby star systems, protecting populations that had long suffered under alien domination, demonstrating an unexpected combination of tactical ruthlessness toward aggressors and humanitarian precision toward civilians, which further compounded the alien realization that humans were not only a threat in terms of raw capability, but also in terms of strategic unpredictability and moral authority, forcing even skeptical allies to reconsider their allegiances and leading to quiet defections among those who saw the writing on the wall. And as humans continued to consolidate control over contested regions, Earth scientists unveiled new forms of energy redirection, shield harmonics, and orbital maneuvering protocols that allowed fleets to operate with unprecedented efficiency, effectively neutralizing traditional weapons while maintaining the ability to respond instantaneously to emerging threats. And through it all, human commanders maintained a calm, almost clinical demeanor, issuing orders with clarity, foresight, and an unwavering focus on long-term outcomes rather than short-term victories, demonstrating that their strength was as much in discipline, coordination, and psychological insight as it was in technological innovation. And as the first major alien task force attempted to regroup and launch a coordinated offensive, they found themselves ensnared in a web of countermeasures, false data streams, and feints that led to catastrophic losses, their ships disabled, supply lines severed, and morale shattered, while Earth's leaders, having foreseen every contingency, directed precise surgical strikes against high-value targets, neutralizing threats without unnecessary collateral damage, creating a narrative that spread quickly across the galaxy. Humans were not merely a species to be feared for their firepower, but to be respected for their intellect, strategy, and unyielding resilience, a species whose quiet patience had concealed centuries of preparation, and whose measured response to provocation would ensure that any civilization contemplating aggression against them would face not just defeat, but a systematic, unavoidable, and thoroughly calculated unraveling of their plans. A revelation that marked the beginning of a new galactic order, one where the underestimated quiet planet had become a fulcrum of power, influence, and cautionary legend, and as the alien councils convened under pressure, debating whether to sue for peace, continue resistance, or attempt subterfuge, they were forced to confront the undeniable truth that Earth's humans had rewritten the rules of engagement, demonstrating that provocation of a species so underestimated could trigger consequences beyond imagination, and that the galaxy's understanding of power, strategy, and intelligence would forever be measured against the standard set by the quiet planet that refused to remain silent. With the initial shock of humanity's capabilities now fully registered across multiple star systems, humans shifted from reactive defense to proactive strategy, deploying coordinated operations that blended offensive precision with diplomatic cunning, striking key military assets while simultaneously initiating humanitarian interventions in contested systems, which created confusion and admiration in equal measure among alien populations, as entire fleets found themselves outmaneuvered not through overwhelming force but through the clever use of environment, physics, and human ingenuity. For Earth's engineers had developed stealth propulsion systems that mimic gravitational anomalies, energy projectors that could redirect incoming fire with near-perfect efficiency, and autonomous drones capable of analyzing alien tactics in real time, learning, adapting, and executing countermeasures faster than the aliens could respond, while human diplomats leveraged these victories to open channels with previously neutral or subjugated species, convincing them that alignment with humanity promised protection, technological exchange, and the opportunity to avoid the disastrous mistakes made by those who had provoked or underestimated humans in the past. And as the Draven Hegemony struggled to maintain cohesion after losing several key command ships to surgical strikes that seemed impossible until explained by human ingenuity, the Confederation's analysts began to notice patterns in human behavior that defied conventional alien logic, a combination of historical study, cultural empathy, and predictive modeling that allowed humans to anticipate reactions not just from fleets and governments but from individual commanders, exploiting hesitation, pride, and overconfidence to gain decisive advantage in every engagement. While humans on Earth coordinated a network of planetary and orbital bases, ensuring that even the remotest colonies could act autonomously yet remain part of a unified strategic vision, a level of cohesion that alien species, with their fragmented command structures and rigid hierarchies, found impossible to comprehend. And as humanity's reach extended, the Xelari Consortium attempted to intervene with experimental weaponry designed to destabilize human systems, only to find their technologies adapted, improved, and deployed against their own forces, demonstrating an uncanny capacity for reverse engineering and rapid innovation that no species had previously achieved under pressure, while civilian populations across human-controlled sectors were mobilized in non-combat capacities, supporting logistics, maintaining infrastructure, and participating in intelligence-gathering efforts that further amplified humanity's operational effectiveness, showing the galaxy that human resilience was not limited to battlefield superiority but extended to social organization, problem-solving, and communal commitment to a shared purpose. And as humans conducted precision interventions in systems under threat from rogue elements or corrupt governors, alien powers realized with growing alarm that Earth's influence was reshaping political and military landscapes in ways they could neither predict nor contain. And when humanity initiated targeted psychological operations, using cultural, historical, and linguistic insights to exploit alien expectations and biases, entire fleets hesitated, communications faltered, and internal dissent blossomed, revealing that humans were masters not only of strategy and technology, but of understanding the minds of their adversaries. And as the galaxy watched in awe and terror, humanity began to consolidate a network of alliances, combining freed systems, former adversaries, and neutral worlds into a cooperative framework that strengthened logistics, intelligence, and rapid response capabilities, while simultaneously demonstrating that provocation of a species underestimated for centuries could trigger consequences that would ripple across light years, redefining power structures, diplomacy, and military doctrine. And as Earth's leaders observed the unfolding chaos with careful, deliberate patience, they prepared for the decisive moves that would cement humanity's place as a galactic power, not through indiscriminate conquest, but through superior planning, moral clarity, technological mastery, and the unwavering application of lessons learned over centuries of adversity, ensuring that those who had mocked, threatened, or ignored humanity would face the full measure of their misjudgment, a reckoning that would echo across the stars for generations to come. And as the first coordinated human fleet penetrated deep into formerly controlled alien territories, executing operations that combined speed, precision, and psychological insight in ways that left commanders on every side reeling, it became undeniable that the quiet planet that had been provoked would now define the limits of power, influence, and strategic thinking for the entire galaxy, forever altering the calculus of interstellar relations. By the time humanity had fully mobilized its interstellar strategy, the galaxy was in turmoil, not from raw destruction but from precision, adaptability, and foresight humans demonstrated in every engagement, as entire alien fleets found themselves paralyzed by countermeasures they could not anticipate, while supply lines, communication hubs, and command structures faltered under operations that combined ingenuity, rapid adaptation, and psychological insight, and yet, even as humans executed surgical strikes, Earth's leaders maintained a careful balance between force and restraint, deliberately avoiding unnecessary collateral damage, which both bewildered and impressed alien observers who expected ruthless aggression once humans revealed their capabilities. And within weeks, key systems that had previously been under alien dominion began requesting cooperation, assistance, and alliances with humanity, understanding that survival and prosperity now depended on alignment. With a quiet planet that had long been dismissed, while on the tactical front, human fleets employed modular, adaptive vessels capable of multiple simultaneous functions: warfare, repair, reconnaissance, and environmental manipulation, allowing a single human task force to achieve what an entire alien fleet had struggled to accomplish. And as the Draven, Xelari, and Confederation powers scrambled to mount coordinated offensives, they found the predictions rendered useless, for humans did not merely respond. They anticipated, redirected, and neutralized, transforming alien attacks into opportunities for counteraction that left commanders questioning every assumption about Earth's technological ceiling, strategic depth, and cognitive approach to conflict. And as humanity extended its reach to liberate oppressed species, stabilize contested sectors, and secure critical resources, alien leadership discovered that every move made against humans became a lesson in humility, a demonstration of patience, discipline, and the capacity to synthesize knowledge, culture, and technology into a force multiplier that no species had previously encountered. While back on Earth, scientists and strategists continued refining adaptive AI, quantum communication, and energy redirection technologies that allowed fleets to operate in fully autonomous, intelligent networks, predicting outcomes and adjusting strategies in real time, while human diplomats leveraged these successes to negotiate treaties that reinforced alliances, brought neutral systems into cooperative frameworks, and isolated rogue elements without firing a single shot, illustrating a dual mastery of warfare and governance that alien powers had never before confronted. And as fleets clashed in deep space, humans combined cloaking, gravitational manipulation, and predictive modeling to incapacitate enemy ships with minimal engagement, while simultaneously rescuing civilian populations caught in crossfire, turning what should have been humanitarian crises into demonstrations of competence, morality, and tactical superiority. And across the galaxy, the perception of humanity shifted from a minor, underestimated species to a force whose patience, ingenuity, and moral clarity set a new standard for interstellar conduct, forcing alien councils to confront decades of arrogance, misjudgment, and hubris, realizing that the quiet planet they had provoked now controlled not only military outcomes, but the psychological, cultural, and diplomatic narrative of the galaxy, while humans continue to orchestrate multi-layered operations that combine deception, precision strikes, and humanitarian relief into a single coherent campaign, demonstrating that their true advantage lay not in superior numbers or weaponry alone, but in the ability to integrate strategy, ethics, and adaptability into a form of interstellar mastery. And as alien species began reconsidering their alliances, policies, and perceptions of power, it became evident that provocation of Earth had created a chain reaction of strategic recalibration, galactic anxiety, and irreversible realignment, leaving humans in position of influence and respect that would endure far beyond any single conflict, establishing a precedent for the rest of the universe. Underestimate humanity at your peril, for the quiet planet that had once seemed insignificant now commanded the attention, respect, and caution of every civilization, capable of reaching for the stars. As the galaxy began to adjust to the undeniable reality of human supremacy, humanity's operations reached a level of sophistication that left every alien strategist questioning not only their assumptions but the very principles upon which their civilizations had operated for millennia, with humans orchestrating simultaneous campaigns across multiple star systems, integrating orbital strikes, autonomous reconnaissance drones, adaptive fleet maneuvers, and humanitarian missions in ways that created strategic, psychological, and moral leverage all at once, and while alien fleets scrambled to respond, they were repeatedly outmaneuvered by humans who had studied their adversaries' thought processes, anticipating hesitation, pride, and overconfidence, converting it into tactical advantage, and in sectors previously considered securely controlled by the Confederation or Xelari Consortium, humans deployed modular task forces capable of transforming from combat operations to infrastructure rebuilding in minutes, stabilizing populations, restoring disrupted economies, and winning hearts and minds with a blend of efficiency, compassion, and strategic calculation that no alien species had previously demonstrated. While back on Earth, Leadership Council coordinated long-range strategies, integrating real-time data streams from sensors, intelligence networks, and predictive AI that allowed them to not only counter alien tactics but to initiate campaigns designed to shape behavior, morale, and alliances across entire sectors, effectively redefining the rules of engagement. And as the Draven Hegemony attempted desperate measures, humans demonstrated a level of adaptive warfare that bordered on prescience, integrating alien technology into their own systems, improving energy efficiency, weapon yield, and defensive shielding in ways that turned previously superior fleets into liabilities, while diplomatic channels were used to isolate factions, secure cooperation from neutral systems, and encouraged defections from alien commanders who had grown disillusioned or fearful of their own leadership's inability to comprehend human strategy. And as humanity consolidated its gains, the galaxy observed the emergence of a new paradigm, a species whose patience, discipline, ingenuity, and moral clarity allowed them to dominate conflict without the chaos, waste, and fear that had historically accompanied interstellar war. And as human fleets expanded their reach into contested zones, they executed operations that combined environmental manipulation, kinetic disruption, and predictive interdiction, neutralizing threats before they could materialize and turning the psychological advantage into a tangible strategic edge, while at the same time Earth scientists unveiled breakthroughs in energy redirection, cloaking, and propulsion that allowed fleets to operate beyond conventional limitations, creating operational freedom that alien forces could neither counter nor predict. And as humans extended aid to previously oppressed species, negotiated ceasefires with rogue factions, and established interstellar trade networks that strengthened their influence, alien civilizations realized that their prior assumptions about human technology, strategy, and coordination had been catastrophically wrong. For what had once appeared to be a minor, backward species had become the linchpin of regional stability, military superiority, and political influence across multiple sectors, reshaping alliances, forcing reconsideration of doctrines, and inspiring a mixture of fear, respect, and awe. And as Earth's leaders prepared for the decisive operations that would define the final phase of the conflict, fleets positioned in precise formations, covert intelligence networks fully operational, and contingency protocols embedded at every level of command, the galaxy braced for the inevitable demonstration of humanity's full capabilities. Understanding now that the quiet planet provoked into action would not merely defend itself but would assert a level of control and influence so complete that any civilization failing to respect it would find their own fleets neutralized, supply chains disrupted, and political authority undermined without ever encountering direct human hostility, a revelation that ensured the galaxy would never again underestimate Earth, nor forget the lesson that the provocation of humanity had unleashed a force of unparalleled precision, adaptability, and moral authority, one that had silently prepared for centuries to ensure that when provoked, the quiet planet would exact its reckoning with a completeness that no alien power could ignore. The culmination of humanity's measured patience, centuries of preparation, and unparalleled strategic foresight came not with chaos or indiscriminate destruction, but with a series of decisive actions that redefined the very concept of power in the galaxy, as fleets that had once sneered at Earth were systematically neutralized through precision strikes, adaptive countermeasures, and multidimensional operations that left alien commanders struggling to comprehend how a single species could anticipate, counter, and outmaneuver them at every turn, while simultaneously humans leveraged diplomacy, trade, and humanitarian outreach to consolidate influence over newly liberated systems, winning allies not through fear alone, but through respect for the discipline, ingenuity, and moral clarity they consistently demonstrated. And as alien powers convened emergency councils, desperate to recalibrate their strategies, they found that every plan was anticipated, every contingency accounted for, and every miscalculation turned into an advantage by humans who had transformed intelligence gathering, predictive modeling, and psychological insight into a form of operational art, so that by the time any fleet attempted a coordinated offensive, human forces were already in position, their technological, tactical, and strategic superiority undeniable, while Earth's leaders maintained a composed, deliberate approach, deploying force only when necessary, guiding negotiations, securing critical systems, and ensuring the survival and prosperity of both humans and allied species, demonstrating that their power lay not merely in their advanced fleets or devastating technology, but in their capacity to integrate knowledge, culture, morality, and ingenuity into a single cohesive force that reshaped every conflict it encountered. And as a Draven Hegemony, Xelari Consortium, and the Confederation faced the inevitable reality that humanity could no longer be ignored, underestimated, or provoked without consequence, fleets surrendered, treaties were renegotiated under Earth's terms, and the galaxy collectively recognized that the quiet planet once deemed insignificant had become a central arbiter of interstellar phase, its humans the embodiment of resilience, strategy, and unyielding intelligence, proving that patience, preparation, and ingenuity were more powerful than arrogance, numbers, or raw firepower. And as Earth's fleets returned to orbit, systems stabilized, and allies integrated into a cooperative framework, the galaxy finally comprehended the lesson that had been silently prepared over centuries, that humanity, underestimated and provoked, had evolved into a force whose reach, influence, and foresight were unmatched, ensuring that no civilization would ever again mistake quiet patience for weakness, that the cost of aggression against Earth will be measured not in immediate retaliation alone, but in the systematic, calculated unraveling of ambitions, plans, and fleets. And as humans look outward into the stars, having established security, dominance, and alliances across vast distances, they remain vigilant, patient, and prepared, a reminder that the provocation of a quiet planet, underestimated for centuries, had unleashed a species whose power, intellect, and moral authority would shape the galaxy forever, leaving no doubt that Earth's lesson to the universe was clear, permanent, and irrevocable, a testament to humanity's enduring strength, cunning, and unassailable place among the stars.